Good fucking morning. Welcome to the Florence Given Show. I have the biggest fucking grin on my face today. Can you hear it in my voice? I just did like 5 really deep breaths before recording this episode, and I feel high as fuck. I've also quit caffeine. I haven't drunk caffeine for 2 weeks. And this is coming from someone that has like sloshed black coffee as part of my creative practice since I was like 16 years old. And the reason I've stopped drinking coffee is because I don't know who I am without it. I'm unraveling all of the habits that have been attached to an old version of me that I have really fucking outgrown. And part of my coffee addiction is tied to this need to experience adrenaline while I am creating, right? I even released a podcast episode on it about a month ago saying black coffee on an empty stomach is the portal to me and my creative gods. And it's true, okay? But what I realized I was doing is I was outsourcing my power to something else. And that might sound silly, right? Because it's just coffee. But I'm sober and I haven't drunk alcohol for it will be 3 years in May. And I've never taken drugs, but my sort of like thing is coffee, and I've had it for so long. And I actually had my best friend who lives in London. We've been like sisters for over 10 years. She once told me, she was like, you know, Floss, whenever I feel bad for drinking so much coffee, I just think of you, and then I feel fine about myself. And she told me that like 5 years ago. And it's not something serious. It's not something deep. You know, I still fucking love coffee. One whiff of that nutty, delicious, burnt aroma, and I just feel aroused. Like, coffee is one of the best fucking things about being alive, to be honest with you. But I was so stressed out at the beginning of this year, and I wanted to prove to myself and to my body that I'm going to take care of her and do the things that are good for her. And coffee is amazing and I can't wait to drink it again, but I want to do it within moderation, right? And I think it actually started this whole should I quit coffee thing when I got this new apartment, because I'm filming in my new apartment right now. Oh yeah, I'm in a new space. Hello. So this is my new apartment. I will tell you all about it in a second once I finish this coffee loop. But I found my dream apartment in LA and I was like, fuck yeah, I'm going to get my dream appliances. I've got a red fucking fridge. Okay. I'm in my red accents era. Okay. I don't want pink kitchen appliances. I don't want loads of them anymore. I really like a glossy red, you know? So I got a red kitchen fridge, and then I bought a red Smeg coffee maker, like a pot, like, you know, you get in a fucking diner. And I bought myself this red Smeg coffee pot because coffee pots remind me of my first apartment in London. So when I first moved to London, it was at university, and then I stayed in like a student dorm, right? So I had a shared kitchen, that whole thing for a whole year. Then I moved into an apartment on Brick Lane. Brick Lane is one of my favorite areas in London. I will do a whole episode at some point about all of my recommendations, but basically I lived in a tiny studio apartment on Brick Lane with my ex-boyfriend, and then I kicked him out and I dumped him and then started talking about that on social media. which was like pouring gasoline on my career, because turns out a lot of people need to hear that they have permission to choose better for themselves. It's part of how I found a lot of confidence in my voice, because I was speaking from a lot of pain. Anyway, I had a fucking coffee maker in that apartment. And so it was this drip coffee maker where you just top it up with your coffee, you pour it in, and you have this pot of coffee that just stays hot. And I would sit for hours and hours and hours in my apartment that was all mine, because I got rid of him, right? I didn't even know if I could afford the rent of this place. And it was £1,400 at the time. I wasn't making enough money to afford that every month. But I kicked him out anyway, because obviously we split the rent, whatever. And I was like, I've got to make it happen. I have got to make it fucking happen. And so this coffee pot, it was this like shitty black plastic thing. I would fill it up every morning and sit and write and make my art and create my illustrations and sell them online. I set up my store online. And that was the whole process of me becoming a self-sustaining businesswoman who sells her fucking art. And this coffee pot, I would sit with it every single day, just drinking from my little teacups and saucers. It wasn't my leopard print one at the time. I was drinking from these little polka dot teacups and saucers. But honestly, the symbol of a teacup and saucer is just so, it's a symbol of joy for me. It represents freedom and being able to live on my own, work on my own, and the coffee pot too. So having a coffee pot and drinking like kind of shitty coffee is like this symbol for me of like, fuck yeah, like independence, you know? And I used to drink this Lavazza red, like wrapping paper coffee. And I bought myself this red Smeg coffee maker for this apartment that I'm in right now. And I imported the Lavazza coffee, and I sat and I drank this whole pot of coffee, and I'm writing something at the moment. So I sat there and I was writing all day, and it fueled the most insane writing session that I've had in so long. And it fucked me up. It really fucked me up. And I was having acid reflux, and I was like, oh, and then I wasn't comfortable in my body for days. And I think it was this like moment where I tipped it over the edge, and I was like, oh, I can't do this anymore. And actually, I don't think it was ever sustainable the way I drink coffee. And then I've been unpacking my relationship to urgency and adrenaline with my creativity. And I'm trying to discover who I am when I create from a place of peace, consistent, slow, sustainable floss. Like I kind of get off on a deadline, right? Like I love a deadline. I love actually working right up to the deadline. I've always done it. And I don't want to be that version of me anymore. You know, she's taken me so far, this like adrenaline fueled version of me, but I think I've reached a point now. And I think it was the coffee pot that tipped me over the edge and was like, I want my body to trust me. I want my body to trust that I won't use her to fulfill a creative goal, because I always end up paying for it. I always end up exhausting myself. And I am a very highly ambitious woman that is learning to regain the trust of her body, because I have ambitions bigger than my human limits. I always have done. And it's one of the sexiest fucking things about me. Like, I just love it. I love knowing that I have big dreams and I always get them done. I literally always get it done. I've never not got it done. I always get it done. And I always will get it done. And I just blow my mind constantly, and I love it. And I have human limits. And I've burnt out quite a few times in my career. And each time it's like I learn a new lesson. I learn a new lens on, oh, why did I do this time? Why did I push myself this time? Who was I trying to prove right? What wound was this flaring up for me? And at the root of everything with my relationship with urgency, right, which is linked to the coffee thing, is this like, I guess not trusting in ease, and not trusting that my genius lives there too. not trusting that my genius lives in the quiet too. So this is my first episode of the Florence Given Show that I've ever recorded, unfucking caffeinated. And clearly, I don't fucking need it. I never have done, because the magic is in me. The magic is in me. And I actually got a tattoo on my hand last year, this time last year, before I moved to LA, because yeah, it's almost coming up to 1 fucking year since I moved to LA. I got a tattoo on my hand that just says magic. And I got this magic tattoo because I had another reckoning, another awakening about my insane ability to manifest everything I want. And I had this window, this very narrow window last year, where it was a fucking portal, and everything I set my mind to, no matter how small, no matter how lightly I thought about something I wanted, it came in. It came in so fast. And my best friend was also experiencing the same thing at the same time, and we called it Magic Week. And every day we were voice noting each other, like, I thought this and then this happened. I thought this and then this happened. My affirmations at the time were fucking insane. Like, I will literally just go through my diaries of that week, and it's like a drug. It's like a drug. Honestly, if I ever need to feel good about myself and just remember who the fuck I am, I can go back and read that diary. I can, honestly, every diary that I write is fucking phenomenal. I just love it. And I think it's because I tap into like a higher version of myself. And it is the most potent form of wisdom to actually just go back and almost retrieve the lessons I already know. Everything I learn is never anything new. It's honestly just a reframe of some shit that I thought when I was like 14 or 20 or something. So anyway, I got the word magic tattooed on my hand, and I would love to do an entire episode on Magic Week and what Magic Week was like, because it's also how I manifested finally collapsing my life in London to be able to move to LA. But anyway, it's been 1 year since Magic Week. It's been 1 year since I moved to LA, and I'm really unlearning my relationship with urgency. And at the beginning of this year, all of the things that led up to me sort of quitting coffee, I am drinking chamomile tea right now. Chamomile tea, just even looking at it in my hands, it makes me feel like I am loving myself. Just even drinking chamomile tea. I'm going to have a sip right now. One of my new affirmations is, I only eat things and drink things that love me back. And until I can have a moderate, healthy relationship with coffee, I'm going to see what I'm like without it. And I'm going to stick to my cacao, my ceremonial cacao, and my chamomile tea. So at the beginning of this year, I didn't have an apartment, okay? I was running on empty. I was running on empty because I had spent all of my energy in November and December creating this show. So I actually recorded all of the episodes for the Florence Given Show in the hotel, basically a hotel that I was living in since I moved to LA. So when I moved to LA, I checked in to this beautiful furnished apartment hotel building. It's old Hollywood. I woke up every single morning, ran to the rooftop in a little pair of kitten heels and a crew neck, stretched, and then blew a kiss to the Hollywood sign before going downstairs to start my day. Like, that has been my morning routine. That has been my morning routine for the last 8 months. And I met the most amazing people in this building, and we had this little like community thing going on. And I've just had the most magical, insane experiences. It felt like I was in college. I lived in the same building as a woman that I became really good friends with. And so we would just go and sit in the lobby of the building until like midnight, just like casting spells and running around and dancing in the lobby of the building I lived in. Anyway, most magical fucking period of my life. The building was also haunted. And it's not an apartment building. It is a hotel. People check in and check out. So the energy there is really transient. I'll do a whole episode on that shit. I want to write a novel about this place. It's so fucking magical. But I was living in a hotel. And a hotel doesn't have settled, rooted energy. A hotel is by nature liminal. It's a liminal space. And the people that were living here were people who were in between their life. People who were going through a divorce. And so they checked into this place. People who were having work done on their house, so they checked into this place. Or people like me who have just crossed the threshold from London to LA and doesn't know where she wants to live yet. You know, did I want to live in Silver Lake, West Hollywood, Santa Monica, wherever the fuck? I had no idea. And so it's a liminal space. And it created this beautiful cocoon for me to shed everything that no longer existed in this big and beautiful life that I'm creating for myself. I am currently shedding and actually releasing habits that have been in my life for 20 years, and I'll be ready to talk about them at some point, but not right now, not when I'm in the woods, not when I'm in the thick of it. I only really like to talk about things when I feel ready, because that wouldn't, you know, I'm all about being vulnerable and stuff, but not at the expense of a journey that I'm still going on. And I'll share that with you at some point. But anyway, this place, it held me. I made friends. I feel like I found community in LA through this building. And I honestly convinced myself I could live there forever until I didn't want to live there anymore because it was on a main road and I am so sensitive to noise. And I was waking up every single morning just with the noise of traffic going past my window, like, and helicopters, and there are helicopters everywhere in LA, and it's pretty fucking iconic. Like every time I see one, I'm just like, I'm in a movie. I feel like I'm in a movie. But it was a lot. And I am so sensitive. I'm a very fucking sensitive soul, okay? And so it was a lot for my nervous system to not only be living in a transient place that isn't mine, but it's furnished and it's beautiful and it's old Hollywood and there's so much history in the building. It's haunted. I lived with the ghosties. Me and the ghosties, we were friends. They were very benevolent. There are a lot of haunted buildings in Hollywood. It's so interesting. But I befriended the ghost and it was fine. And they let me be. But I was living in this space that was, really transient. And it wasn't a place to set roots down in. It wasn't a place where I could paint the walls pink, okay? Virginia Woolf wrote a book called A Room of One's Own. And that whole book is about how women need an independent source of income and a room of one's own that you can lock in order to live creatively fulfilling lives. And that phrase, a room of one's own, it's been in my head since I moved to LA because I need a room of one's own. And Florence Given's room of one's own is pink. I need a pink room, okay? Pink is absolutely quintessential to my fucking happiness. And I'm done fighting it. I feel like I say this every year. What did I tell you? I feel like I all the wisdom I think I just came up with is something I thought like 5 years ago. But I really need pink in my life to be happy. It's why I dyed my hair pink. It's why everything I love is pink. And quite a lot of people in my life, like friends, my family, whatever, have always said, don't you think it's a bit too much? Like maybe don't paint every room pink. That's a bit much. And it might be a bit much for them, but it's not for me. And at the end of the day, my interiors are for my fucking happiness. And there is never too much pink. And so I was living the fucking dream. Literally living the Hollywood dream. There were writers in my building. Women, I've never had friends who are writers and being able to like talk constantly about the writing process. Like it felt like we were all on this just like retreat. It was fucking amazing. And I was living in this building with another writer who was also, she was writing a screenplay. And when we would pass each other, so She's amazing. I miss her. She is like the complete opposite of me. So this woman that lived in my building, complete opposite of me, you know, like Princess Bubblegum and Marceline. This is exactly like me and the woman that lived in my building. We would never cross paths because I was up at 5 a.m. every morning. I would hike the Hollywood Hills, come home and then write. And then I would go to bed around 10 p.m. And that is when she would wake up. She is my vampire queen, okay? She would wake up at 10. And the best part is we lived above and below each other. So fucking magical. It's literally like the plot of a novel. So I lived above her, she lived below me. And when I would wake up in the morning, that's when she would go to sleep. And when I would go to sleep, that's when she would wake up and write her TV series. She's so fucking amazing and iconic. And yeah, I made a lot of beautiful connections at that place. And I really did convince myself that I could live there forever. But I was almost over-romanticizing the experience as though it was an experience that I needed to have forever and that I needed to like live in this thing and ignore all of the things that really weren't working for me in this place, including living on a main road. Okay, that shit's crazy for my body. So I was searching for an apartment building in LA for about 5 or 6 months. And I was looking at all of these beautiful Art Deco apartments. I was looking at things way outside of my budget because she loves to expand. Okay. Because every single time that I've stretched my rent to a level that feels just out of my comfort zone, reality bends to my rent and I make more money. That's always how it's fucking happened, okay? But then it gets to a point where you're like, I don't want to spend so much rent that it's like disgusting and I'm going to be anxious every month thinking about, oh no, I need to spend so much money to maintain this lifestyle. I'm not about that bullshit, okay? When I first made a lot of money in like my early 20s and stuff, when my career was just taking off, I made a lot of decisions about my career and about my finances that weren't rooted in what felt good, but what looked good, right? So I didn't want to spend an extortionate amount of money on my rent. And so I was looking around at all these different places, viewing these extortionate places, viewing these beautiful places, viewing these like moderate places that wouldn't make me happy to live in. And I was like, oh no. And I have very specific needs when it comes to having an apartment. I need a lot of privacy. I don't want anyone looking into my fucking windows, all right? Because I've had that before and that shit sucks. So I wanted privacy. I wanted a shit ton of natural light. I wanted it to get the sunlight, ideally south facing. I wanted it to be vintage and Art Deco and have all of these beautiful features, but not be instantly recognizable. I had all of these things, right? And so I found this apartment pretty fucking quick. I actually found this apartment like 5 months ago and it's perfect. But the only thing was it doesn't get morning sunlight. Okay. And if you followed me for a while, you will know how important sunlight is to me. Okay. I literally moved to LA and California in general because of the sun. It's perfect every day here, every single day. And I cannot believe that I just experienced winter without the blues. The only blues I had was because of my life situation and because of everything that I was experiencing with not having an apartment, running around LA, feeling deeply unstable, staying in someone else's place. When I left that hotel, I stayed with someone else, and then I didn't have my own like self-expression because I was in someone else's home. I was taking meetings in my car. Like, oh yeah, I can drive now. Don't know if I gave you that update yet, but I can fucking drive. I can fucking drive. I can fucking drive, and I love to fucking drive. So I was really stressed out this winter, but it wasn't because of the winter. Okay? That's an improvement. This year, December, January, Feb, they hate to see me coming. Okay? I'm pretty sure that's also when I just normally have my like transformational shifts in life anyway, literally every fucking year. So even though my winter may not be external and I might not be freezing my ass off and having to wear an uncomfortable amount of layers and wrapping a scarf around my neck and wearing 3 layers of tights, which I hated in the UK, disgusting, and all the little noises that the clothes make when they're on you. Oh, I hate it. Even though I got to avoid that, I do think that I have an existential winter, right? And this year I just had it in the sunshine, which did make it a lot easier. But I found this apartment way before the winter, and I only just moved in now in March. And that was because I was being really picky about the sunshine. Okay, so I was like, well, it doesn't get the sunshine in the morning. It doesn't get it until like 12, midday. And I'm a morning girly, so I was like, I need that morning sun. So I literally went around the whole of Los Angeles, looking for different apartments, looking in different areas. Because I'm not an area specific gal. I was just like, I need my beautiful dream apartment that has a parking spot, loads of sunlight, all of this, Art Deco, massive windows, romance. I wanted the same romance that I had in this hotel that I was living in, but without the chaos, you know, and without the transience, without the liminal feeling, without the feeling of being in this holding pattern. Like I wanted to plant myself and build a life in LA so my nervous system could chill the fuck out. So I found this apartment really quick, went around the whole of LA looking, and then I burnt out. I was hiking too much, drinking coffee too much, pushing. And not because of some like new year, new me thing. This is just what I've been doing since I've come to LA. And I think that I was at the edge of what had been months of compounding unsustainable behavior and launching this show as well. So even though I recorded all of these podcast episodes that you've been listening to in August, September time, I hadn't found my team yet. So I was training my insane video editor. I was training her on my taste and what I like. And she lives in Tokyo. So we were working with a time difference. And so I was up to like 1 a.m. some nights, which is crazy. I'm a 10 p.m. bed girly, okay? Sleep schedule was way off whack. I didn't have a home. I was living in someone else's place, right, in LA. I didn't have routine. I was taking meetings in my car. I've started writing deadlines. I've doing the podcast, promoting the podcast. Oh my God, even saying this, I'm like... And so I could feel that I was on the edge of burning out. And so I got poorly, right? I got really poorly. I got like some flu that was going around. That my nervous system, my immune system was it was stressed out. So I got the flu. I got the thing that was going around in LA, and I just spent 4 days in a bath. I literally spent 4 days just in the bath reading The Journey of Souls, which my friend gifted to me for Christmas. I read The Journey of Souls. I walked the Hollywood Reservoir once. That was like the only active thing I did. And I just rested. And in this resting period, I was like, oh, what about that apartment that I viewed 5 months ago? And I was like, there's no way it's still going to be waiting for me because it was so beautiful. And it was waiting for me. I called up the property manager and I was like, hey, I know I said no before. Is there a chance it's still available? And she was like, yeah, it's still available because we haven't done the work on it. So this is the thing with this apartment as well. This apartment was going to be completely modernized. All of these beautiful Art Deco features, the mint tiled bathrooms, all of the things, they were going to strip it and modernize it and do work on it. And I told her absolutely fucking not. Absolutely not. And sort of got a spoken agreement, word agreement that I can do whatever I want to this place because they were going to invest so much money redeveloping it anyway. And so I saved this Art Deco apartment from being demolished, and she saved me too. We saved each other because I have been traipsing around LA looking for an apartment, trying to find home, and we both needed each other. The fact that this was still available after 4 months of me declining it is crazy. I just can't believe it. We were meant to find each other. And I'm so glad that I get to live in a piece of Hollywood history, because there isn't, like, LA's history is only like 100 years old in terms of its buildings. Obviously, LA has existed way before that. And it wasn't actually even called Los Angeles. It was called Cahuenga. And Hollywood was called Hollywood because some land developer bought all of the land here. It was just this beautiful, like, citrus trees and fig trees. And he was going to call Hollywood Figwood, right? And then his glamorous wife comes along and goes, no, it should be called Hollywood. Hollywood's more glamorous. And she saved the day. Can you imagine Figwood? No, it just doesn't work. So I'm so grateful to have a building and have an apartment that has all of these beautiful features in them. And the best thing about apartment buildings like this is that they bring in the best fucking people. So other people that live here really appreciate that charm and appreciate that side of LA. Because whenever I share, like, the beautiful, whimsical side of LA on my stories, people are shocked. They're like, what the fuck? I just thought it was like flashy cars, Rodeo Drive, selling sunset vibes. And that stuff does exist. And that's fucking cool as well. That's like, it's so impressive. It's like, it's very opulent. It's very beautiful. It's very aspirational. And there's also another side of LA, which is haunted, sexy, glamorous, dark, gothic, salacious. I love it. And it's beautiful and it's bright and it's dazzling. And I'm so grateful that I get to live here. And today I'm recording in my expression room. Okay, this is my expression room. So this is where I'm going to be dancing, working out, writing, creating, recording. Anything that's an output of the self, anything that's like a boom, 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 it's happening in this room. Because previously I've just sort of flitted about between the rooms in my apartments and dragged energy, even like phone energy, okay? There are rooms in my apartment where I'm like, no phone is allowed here, including my bedroom. The bedroom is a no phone zone. And so this room, my expression room, this is where all of that juicy shit happens. And I'm so excited because you're going to get to see the evolution of this room. It's going to be pink. It's going to be pink. I bought this super boring, not to my taste rug because this room was echoey as shit. And my producer was like, girl, you need to pad this room out. So I bought a clothing rail to hang some of my fluffiest coats on to sort of absorb the echo. I've got my suitcases here, and in front of me, I have a duvet, blankets and pillows sort of barricading the windows because I needed this place to sound amazing. So you're going to get to see this room turn into my dream creative space. Honestly, my vision boards are fucking crazy right now. I want an Art Deco vanity table that just sits between my windows where I cast my spells, where I say my affirmations, where I do my hair, where I do my makeup. And I have these little essential oils that I put on my wrists for protection. I got them from a woman in LA. She sells them on the street and she casts spells over the petals. I walked up to her and I was like, wow, you have amazing energy. She was like, you do too. And then she had all of these essential oils. And I was like, how do these work? Like, they each have a different purpose. She has one for protection, one for abundance, one for love, all of this sort of stuff. And she was like, well, darling, I just grow flowers and I cast my spells over them at my home, and then I dry them, and then I put them in bottles, and then I wear them every day. And she was telling me that she has one that's just for glamour. And I was like, what's this one for? And she was like, oh, this is the one that you just wear because you're that girl. You're just that girl. This is the one that you wear because you're that girl. Immediately bought that essential oil. So I'm going to have all of these oils on my table, and it's going to be my altar. Honestly, the main thing that I have missed about not having my own apartment is being able to create spaces for my magic to happen. Yeah. It's taken me 2 days just to set up everything that I have here to record this podcast episode. And now that I have it all set up, I can just sit down and record whenever I want. But yeah, rituals and routine are so fucking important. And I'm so excited to begin this new chapter, creating stability for myself in LA, in a city that I'm building a life in. And I'm so excited to bring you along the journey with me. And you're going to get to see how the expression room changes. You're going to see her morph. I'm going to have, I quite like all of my clothes to be out of the wardrobe. I think I just want the most beautiful, vibrant, possible fucking room that I could imagine. And the most beautiful, vibrant life that I could possibly imagine. And my main lesson that I'm learning in my life right now is how to do this from a place of ease. I'm not burning out this year. That was my one promise to myself. I'm not burning out this year. Life does call for intense creative sprints at times, and you should fucking go for them. You should do them. Almost just to prove to yourself that you can. Because that shit it gives you so much confidence. But I am learning now to create from a place of ease. I will be drinking coffee again. She is one of the loves of my life. Okay? I love coffee so much. But I'm excited to experience a complete nervous system reset and experience what it's like to create a life where actually my output is way more impactful because I fucking rested. You know? And most important of all, I'm going to learn and regain the trust back from my body by keeping small promises to myself. Like going to bed on time and listening and staying in tune with her and not outsourcing my power to things like coffee or adrenaline or rush or urgency or waiting last minute to finish a writing deadline. Yeah, so I'm so excited about this new chapter of my life. And I'm so excited that you actually get to witness this. And you're witnessing me in the middle. Because this room does not look how I want it to fucking look right now. I've just pulled all my pretty things. Because I hate a boring backdrop. I absolutely detest absence of color. Like, black, it does block my soul. Like, my mum suggested that I get a black fridge for my kitchen, and I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean there will be a black hole, a black void in my kitchen? And it's funny because I stayed in an Airbnb recently, and it had a black fridge, and I thought it looked beautiful. But in my home, the color does energize me. I need it, and I can't wait to make this room fucking pink. Okay. I think that's all I have to say right now. I think that's all I have to say on the subject of unlearning urgency and also keeping you up to date with where I've been at, where I've been living in LA. And I know some of you were wondering, like, wait, what? I thought you had an apartment. I was living in a hotel, and it was the most magical experience of my life. And now I'm finally getting roots. And it's finally fucking time for me to buy some clothes. I have not bought many new clothes since coming to LA. I bought this red coat, this top that I'm wearing right now. It's like a stripy top. And I also bought this beautiful purple suede fringed coat and some, like, you know, casual basics. But I have not updated my style, my wardrobe, even to like fit this perfectly sunny climate. So I'm excited to buy some new clothes, buy some new furniture. I literally need everything because I have nothing in here. I'm just so excited. I think I've said that like 10 fucking times now, but yeah, I love you so much. I'll see you next week for another episode of the Florence Given Show. Love you. Bye. Mwah.